Hi, I'm Megan. Why should you watch this video about the sentencing of Willis Trueblood Jr.? The result is already known. This is 20-year-old Willis Trueblood. He is currently serving an 8-year sentence for driving away from the scene of the deadly accident that killed FSU student Elizabeth Ellie Sims. So why watch the sentencing hearing? We think this case deserves your attention. Most of us are drivers. Most of us make occasional bad decisions that can put others' lives in danger. We think it is important to listen to stories like Ellie's and the ripple effect that a tragic loss from a senseless accident can cause for so many people. Ellie's family, friends, her Alpha Chi Omega sisters, and everyone who knew Ellie cares deeply. This is more than just a case for them. We hope that you care too, and that you will listen to the touching statements from Ellie's family about who she was, how she lived, and what was lost when Willis failed to drive carefully through a high-traffic college campus area, taking the life of beautiful Ellie as she crossed the designated crosswalk, lights flashing, returning home from the library. Mentor lawyer filmed this hearing himself, but he did not like the quality of the audio. So, he ordered audio from the courtroom, and in this edit, we combined Mentor lawyer's video with the courtroom audio. Let's get into the case.
All right. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge J. Lee Marsh presiding. Everyone may be seated.
All right, good afternoon. We're here today in Leon County Case 2024 CF 1235, State versus Trueblood. We're here for final disposition in this matter and sentencing. At a previous session of court, the defendant had entered a plea of no contest as to the information. The court accepted that and set this matter off for sentencing. Before we begin, my understanding, and I just want to make sure we're clear, I believe the defendant waived a pre-sentence investigative report.
Yes, Your Honor.
And also I note between when we last met on the plea and today, I've received a new criminal punishment code score sheet that reflects a lowest permissible sentence, and we'll talk about that more later, and the parties will have words to say about that, of 129.45 months. The court will note that that is lower than it was at the time of the acceptance of the plea, and this would correspond to on offense level 8. The previous erroneously listed offense level 9. This is an offense level 8. It's a 7 by statute, plus as a vulnerable road user, it makes it it adds one level, making it a level 8 offense. Any other matters in house, or I should say defense, any objection? Again, this inures to the benefit of the defendant from where it was last time. Any objections to the score sheet?
No, Judge.
All right. Any other preliminary matters we need to discuss?
Judge, do we have Joseph and Susan Ivorone on the Zoom?
I don't have anybody in my Zoom waiting room yet. It's been on since I came in a little early. It's been on since about 1:12.
All right.
But and what are those names again? And I'll make sure I let them in as soon as if I see them.
Joseph and Susan Ivorone.
All right, and when and if I see them come up, I'll let them in. For everyone else, obviously we got a packed house. One thing I'm going to ask everybody now, we are in the digital age. Please take your cell phones, silence them, turn them off. I don't want them going off in the middle. I'm going to check mine right now and make sure that it's in silent. We are in a digital age, but we don't want to disturb the proceedings here today. I also realize this is a very emotional case. If emotions are getting the better of you, feel free to get up and leave the courtroom for a moment to compose yourself before coming back in. I don't want to have to ask anyone to leave because you're here to support families, friends, loved ones, and we want to have you here in the courtroom to do those very things. But you're also humans, and if emotion is going to take the better of you, feel free to go outside into the hallway to compose yourself. I don't want any outbursts in court today. With that, the way we proceed is the state will go first with any victim impact witness evidence it wants to present. Then the defense will go next with the any type of mitigation, extenuation, any allocution by the defendant. The argument will then go to the state. The state will put on its argument for sentencing, and then the defendant in this court gets the last word before the court will decide the appropriate sentence in this case. So without further ado, State, you may proceed.
Yes, sir. The state has 3 exhibits, I understand. I've just learned that there's going to be an objection to one of them, but I'd like to do victim impact first. And while we present victim impact, it's the wish of the state to first present a short clip of the victim just speaking, and then to publish a slideshow along with the presentation of the victim impact testimony. Both of those, the slideshow and the short clip of the victim speaking, are on State's Exhibit B. So at this time, I'd ask to introduce B.
In defense, there was no objection as to that, correct?
No, Your Honor.
All right, without objection.
I was told our audio was fixed, but it does not appear to be, so I'm going to unplug and ask to approach to present this to Your Honor.
All right. And I do know they were in trying to.
Yeah, they're working on it over break.
You want to put it there? And
Yes.
Ms. Yuri, if you want to be there as well. All right.
Sorry, come here. I'm coming at you live from this volcano I climbed up. So that's the resort, and then this is the private beach, and then I climbed up it, and I wanted to get this panoramic view. It's so gorgeous. Oh my gosh. I'm seeing it right now, but like I'm shocked. So I'm here, but like watching it through my. This is so pretty. Anyway, I wanted to show you guys this. I miss you guys a lot, and it's Laurel's birthday today, so we're gonna go to dinner, and then we're probably just going to go to bed or do something at the hotel because there's nothing to do here other than go to dinner. But yeah, so pretty here, and I hope you guys are doing well. Sorry to flex though. I know this isn't probably the weather you guys are having, but so pretty. I had to show you.
And Kristen Sims will be our first speaker. Put in here. Just introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. My name is Kristen Sims, and I am Ellie Sims' mother. I've heard it said that once you become a mother, your heart is permanently on the outside of your body, which is very, very true. Anybody that's a mother will be able to testify to that. You walk around with your heart on the outside. Every sneeze, every cough, every tear that your child has, you feel it too, and you feel their pain, their happiness, their sorrow, their joy, their love you feel when they're frightened. The first time you hold your child, you become their protector. And you feel that way as long as you're a parent, and even after. My heart was on the outside of my body on April 29th, 2024, when I was discussing with my son what I was gonna make for dinner tonight. And looking back, it seems like such a meaningless and stupid thing to be worried about. How would I have been able to focus on something so trivial when my daughter was laying in the street and it took a policeman to come by and talk to me for 30 minutes to try to convince me that it was actually Ellie that he was talking about? I kept shaking my head in denial and saying, no, no. I kept saying, are you sure? Are you sure she's just not in the hospital with a broken leg? I just didn't picture anyone actually getting killed by a car on a college campus. I couldn't breathe. And I honestly believe that I died that day too. I'm not the same person I am or I was then. I'm different. You can't lose your child without dying yourself. I live in just fear of everything. Fear. I get very anxious when the doorbell rings. I just think that it's police coming again. Everything changed. Ellie was 20 years old when she was hit and killed. She had so much life ahead of her. She had so many hopes and dreams, and I know that sounds very much like every young person, but she was so awesome. I just wish the court could know her. She was super smart. She got a 34 on her ACTs. She was going places. She was good. She was a good girl. She cared about other people. When I went to visit her, when the weekend before I was at the campus for the spring parents' weekend, and she said, "Mom, we have to go to this little Korean restaurant, this poke place." And I said, "Oh, why?" And she said, "Because I always see the man standing outside, and he works so hard. He's always outside sweeping and cleaning." And she's like, "I never see anybody in that store. We have to go by, and we have to buy something in there." Like, she respected hard work. She respected rolling up your sleeves and doing what needed to be done. I was so proud of her, and her father and I used to always talk about how much, like, we just couldn't wait to see what she was going to become, what she was going to do in this world. I just knew she was going to be something special, something just extraordinary. Oh gosh, I'm having trouble seeing. Ellie knew who she was. She was a strong young woman, and she didn't deserve to die on the side of the road alone. She deserved kindness and sympathy and concern. She deserved more from the person who hit and killed her. She deserved more from Mr. Trueblood. She was working to make herself and the place and her community a better place. She was concerned about others and she cared about the future. She volunteered at her school's health department, teaching good sexual practices to other groups, other young people in the community and at the university. Many days I feel like it would just be easier just not to be here. The pain would be gone. Every day, it's just so painful. But I move forward because I can't let Ellie's legacy die. I'm obsessed with it. I just want everyone to remember her and love her. Your Honor, the entire student body, parents, employees of Florida State University are watching. They're watching today to see what will happen in this case and how Mr. Trueblood will be held responsible for his negligent actions. They're watching to see what will happen and if the state of Florida will protect them and to show them that the callousness and careless act of driving away when someone is on the road, obviously in need, is, and they're watching to see what sentence will be handed down. Think about all the 18 and 19 and 20-year-olds that were there at the site who did render aid, who rushed to Ellie's aid. They did call 911. They did the right thing. They did look at her for signs of life. Mr. Trueblood saw my daughter's lifeless body on the ground, looked up, said, "Oh, S-H-I-T," and drove away. There are many witnesses that say that and that were heard, and I am personally appalled by that action. There's no way that he didn't realize what he had done because he was looking at her blood and hair through his windshield. Following the accident, he did post on Instagram, and I quote, "Don't text my phone, but at jumpboy.polo if you need some." I believe personally that he was talking about drugs. I'm also appalled when I watch Mr. Trueblood's interrogation with the detective the night of the hit and run. During the recording and the questioning, never ever did I hear him ask about the victim, about her family. He never expressed remorse for hitting her. He seemed tired, he seemed bothered, not bothered, but he seemed like, it was very one-word answers, not getting into a lot of description when the detective was asking him questions. That, I feel, really speaks volume to his remorse following the accident. I respectfully ask, Your Honor, that you do not deter from the minimum sentence of 10 years. The minimum has been put in place by the state of Florida, the state legislature, and I firmly believe that when you begin driving, you acknowledge the rules of the road. And you you have to sign a paper stating as much. You know that you have to stop. You have to stop and render aid to anyone that you hit with your car. Those are the rules of the road, and you accept those when you accept a license at the state of Florida. In closing, I know that the defense will probably ask you for mercy, but I ask you, where was the mercy when Ellie was hit? Where was the mercy shown to my daughter, laying on the ground with her whole life ahead of her? Our lives are permanently changed. Mr. Trueblood killed many more than just one person that day. Our Ellie is forever gone, and we're left to carry on as a family. Her many friends that are here today who loved her will never see her smiling face again. We'll never hear her talk about food again. She was such a foodie, and she loved to travel. It's basic human dignity, basic human decency to stop and render aid. We would do it for anyone. Anyone in this courtroom would stop and do it. And the fact that Mr. Trueblood did not, I think, speaks volumes. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your consideration and allowing me to speak.
My name is Anna Sims. I am the older sister of Elizabeth Ellie Sims. And this is my younger brother, Ian, who was also Ellie's younger brother. As I already mentioned, I'm here today as the older sister of Elizabeth Sims Ellie, who was 20 years old when her life was taken from her. On the evening of April 29th, 2024, my sister was struck and killed in a crosswalk at West Pensacola and Lorene Street while walking home from the library where she had been studying for finals. She died on impact. I'm here today because she cannot be. Ellie was loud, and I say that with every ounce of love that I have. She was so full of life that when she spoke, you stopped what you were doing and listened. She did not whisper her way through the world. She took up space in it, joyfully, boldly, unapologetically. Every room she left felt quieter for her absence. She made people around her better simply by being in their lives, by holding them to a higher standard, by refusing to let people she loved be anything less than their best selves. Every week, we called each other just to talk about our lives, what we were worried about, what we were excited about, who we were becoming. Those calls were one of the great constants of my life. I still reach for my phone on Sundays. For a split second, my body forgets, and then I remember. Ellie did everything right. She pressed the walk button. She waited. The pedestrian lights were flashing. She was not on her phone. She was not running. She was not intoxicated. She was exactly where she was supposed to be. And Willis Trueblood Jr. was driving fast enough to kill her. Saw other cars stopped, went around them, struck my sister in that crosswalk and drove away. Witnesses saw him stop. They saw him see her on the ground, and they watched him speed away. He knew what he had done, and he left her there anyways. The defense may paint him as a scared teenager who panicked, but I ask this court to consider what he actually did. When he was arrested, when he was interrogated, he did not ask about Ellie, not once. He never asked if she was okay. He never asked who she was. That silence speaks louder to me than any apology offered now. As my mom mentioned, the day following my sister's death, Mr. Trueblood posted to Instagram, "Hit up my friend if you need," directing his customers to another dealer for drugs. That is what was on his mind. He was not worried about Ellie. He wasn't even thinking about her. I'm sorry. Some of my favorite moments with Ellie were the simplest ones. Lying in my bed at night, laughing, talking about whatever comes to mind. We would get so loud that our mom would come downstairs in her robe and tell us to be quiet. We would wait until we heard footsteps go back upstairs, and then we would start laughing again. I would do anything to be told to be quiet one more time. I have lost my sister. I have lost my maid of honor. I dread my own wedding day because she will not be standing beside me. There is a place that she should be, and she is not. I have lost those weekly calls. I have lost the person that I reached for when things got hard. I have also lost the version of myself, and I am not sure that I will ever get her back. I have nightmares. Her face comes to me throughout the day. Images I cannot describe to this room. Thoughts I cannot turn off no matter how hard I try. I am depressed in a way I did not know was possible until April 29th. Not sad, but depressed. There is a difference. There are days when getting out of bed feels impossibly heavy. There are nights when I replay that crosswalk in my mind and I cannot make it stop. Simple things terrify me now. Crosswalks, intersections, watching someone I love walk back to their car at night. The world simply does not feel safe anymore because I know in a way that I cannot unknow that doing everything right is not always enough to protect you. Ellie was also deeply protective of our younger brother, Ian. She was actively shaping him into the man that she knew he could be, and that was taken from him. And the weight of being his family when our parents passed now falls on me alone. I always believed Ellie and I would carry it together, and that future no longer exists. And I grieve it every day alongside everything else. There is a hole in my life where she used to be, and it has no bottom. It is something that will not heal. It is something that I will spend the rest of my life learning to carry. And I need the court to understand that I should not have to carry it at all. I asked the judge, to impose a sentence that reflects the true weight of what was taken. The law allows for a minimum of 10 years, and I'm asking you, Your Honor, to impose at least that and not depart from the minimum. Not because any sentence will feel like justice, nothing will, but because Ellie pressed the walk button and waited and did everything right, and he drove away and never once asked her name. He knew right from wrong, he made his choices, my sister made hers, and only one of them is still here to face the consequences. She is not coming back. I will stand at the altar without her. I will grow old without her. Every milestone, every ordinary Sunday, every hard day, she will not be there. That is what I'm asking this court to reckon with today. Not an accident. A 20-year-old girl who is everything to us, gone, and a family that will never be the same. Respectfully submitted, Anna Sims. I'm also going to read a statement that my younger brother Ian wrote. So this is in his words. I'm just going to be reading it. When I woke up on the day of Ellie's passing, I was happy. I laid out my outfit the day before, and I wore my signed Derrick Henry jersey. And I left home happy because I got to leave school early to go to the doctor for a checkup. When I came home, I was doing my homework when I heard a ring at the doorbell. I rushed downstairs to check, and I saw 2 policemen standing there, and I thought, oh, Anna's got another speeding ticket or something. And I told my mom, who was sleeping on the couch, to come talk with them. One of the policemen came inside to talk to my mom, and one came outside to talk to me for a minute. He asked me questions, but by the time I knew something was off, because this has never happened to me before. He took me inside, and I saw my mom crying at the dining table, yelling and sobbing, "Ian, Ellie's dead." I came to sit down next to her, emotionless, no idea what to do or think. I was so lost. My whole family came home the night of and decided for them to go to Tallahassee and for me to stay at the house with my grandmother. When I went to bed, I could not stop thinking about what had just happened. Not even 4 hours ago, I was doing work, not a problem in the world, and now I had just lost everything to me. I laid there in bed thinking, why, God? Why my family? Why my family out of all of the other families out there? I thought of all the times I had saw on TV about someone dying or passing away and think that that would never happen to my family. We are safe and rule following, but nevertheless, I laid there to be the one that it happened to. During the week I was out, I can't even count the number of people texting, calling me, saying how sorry they were, and telling me stories of somebody's older brother who knew Ellie and how amazing and charming she was. After a week, my family came home, or I came back to school. I was scared because this has never happened to anyone I've known or me. I didn't feel ready for people to ask me about her. Ever since it happened, my family is reminded how lucky we were to have her as a sister and as a daughter. Personally, in my opinion, I do not think the minimum is enough for the amount of damage emotionally that my family has gone through. I don't think that my family or me is ever going to lose the image of her or loving her. Thank you.
One more victim impact judge. This is John Sims.
I'm John Sims. I'm Ellie's dad. Sitting down to write this, I felt the weight of an impossible task. Conveying the personal and societal impact when my daughter, Elizabeth Sims, Ellie, was killed by Willis Trueblood Jr. Losing a child is beyond measure. It's a wound that will never heal. It's impossible to understand. I learned what it meant to wail, to cry from my soul, mourning from every fiber of my being. The night Ellie was killed by Willis Trueblood Jr. Nothing I can say can meet the measure of the woman that Ellie was becoming, nor accurately describe the brilliance of her multifaceted persona. She simply was awesome. Parents only know that portion of their children's lives which they live with us, and we know very little about their lives elsewhere. The first of many blessings from God was a glimpse into how Ellie lived elsewhere. Ellie was a positive force. Ellie stepped in. Ellie impacted lives directly and influenced those in her orbit, and all in ways we never knew until she was killed by Willis Trueblood Jr. It is impossible to measure the loss of Ellie's ripple effect on society. Shortly after Ellie's birth, she was admitted to the hospital and placed in the NICU. I remember holding her little hand and weeping uncontrollably while the nurses started an IV. At that moment, I begged God not to take her from us. Please, Lord, not Ellie, not now. She hasn't had a chance to live. At the time, Chris and I were close to our Lord. But losing Ellie then would have destroyed our family and sent me onto a path of self-destruction. There, but by the grace of God, go I. Ellie's death is devastating. It caused me to question long-held beliefs. What is the point when a random act of inattention can cost the life of someone with such, I can't read, I'm sorry, potential? What is the point? Why Ellie? Why would God allow her, of all people, to suffer the senseless death while crossing a street? There are no answers to these questions, at least not on this side of the veil. It is only by the grace of God we survived Ellie being killed by Willis Trueblood Jr. Through his grace, so many people, from her Alpha Chi Omega sisters to her friends, to the Florida State community of students, parents, alumni, and administrators, and of course our friends and our family. So many people poured love into us and prayed for us. Early on, and throughout Ellie's life, she exhibited understanding, knowledge, courage, strength, and determination, far beyond her years. I cannot count the number of times I wished I had been more like Ellie at that time in my life. I literally stood in awe of my daughter. She took the meager gifts I contributed and made them into something far greater. What parent could ever ask for more? I would not have been surprised to see Ellie become president of the United States. I routinely, thank you. Sorry. Routinely told friends I could see her becoming CEO. Ellie had it. Whatever it is, she had it. People wanted to be in her orbit. They wanted to be a part of whatever she was doing. Around the time of Ellie's death, one of our last conversations, she told me of her growing love for economics and that she could see herself becoming a professor, teaching economics while continuing to be an entrepreneur. She started 2 businesses in high school. Ellie had the ambition to achieve whatever she dreamt and the desire to help others, especially women and the underserved, to define and realize their own dreams. I cannot tell you what impact Ellie would have had on this world. I can tell you with certainty, Ellie was going to live her life her way and with a flair like no other, authentically and unapologetically. I respectfully ask the court to issue a sentence strictly following the guidelines without prejudice, age, or other factors. To reduce the sentence below the statutory minimum of 10 years. We know that's different. For leaving the scene of a crime, resulting in death of an vulnerable, I keep getting that wrong, vulnerable pedestrian. A vulnerable pedestrian. I request this sentence for the selfish, cowardly act of failing to render aid, knowing the automobile he, Willis Trueblood Jr., was driving had struck a pedestrian. We know he, Willis Trueblood Jr., we knew he had this knowledge because Willis Trueblood Jr. looked through the windshield, shattered by my daughter's body the entire time he drove away. And fled, the consequence of his action. I was 18. I was an idiot. I made lots of mistakes. I could not have looked through that windshield and not turned around at some point. Additionally, it is my belief that Willis Trueblood Jr. and society at large are better served by Willis earning the right to parole, to earn a reduction in time served, as opposed to Willis being given a reduction in sentence. Thank you.
Judge, next I'd like to admit State's Exhibit A. A is a disc that contains 2 short clips from witnesses that were at the scene when Ms. Sims was killed.
All right, any objection to states A for identification? Any objection to states A?
No, Your Honor.
All right, without objection.
And this has sound, so I'm going to ask to approach, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Yuri, if you want to come on up.
It was definitely the thing, the crosswalk. I heard it. I turned. I was right where that guy is sitting like right over there with my dog and flew in the air, hit, roll. I heard it hit. I heard the hit, so I instantly turned my head and I saw her flying through the air and I saw her hit the ground like roll, like where the first thing right there, right there on the ground, or something. It looked like she rolled, and then I saw it. Then I turned to the car. I'm like trying to evaluate what actually happened, and then the car slowed down. It goes, oh shit, and then sped off. This guy, man, I didn't process, you know what I mean? But I heard it was a man for sure.
But you saw the vehicle hit her.
Oh, I heard it hit. I didn't see it, the collision, but I heard it, turned my head, saw her flying there.
So you were down there?
Right where that man is, because I live right there.
And what way were you looking?
Right now, so I'm facing this way, and I heard it. I'm like this, and I'm leaning against the pole. Like this, I just turn my head like faintly, because I hear a lot of the noise. Her in the air, and him, the car driving. And then I got up, I stood up, and then the car, by that time the car was like right kind of in front of my apartment. I yelled, oh shit.
Were there any other cars in the area?
They all stopped. Everybody stopped.
So that was the only one they came through?
In the moment that I saw, there might have been cars ahead of him that didn't see, like they went before during the crosswalk. Sure. But the other cars behind her stopped. Everybody stopped. Like when they hit her, everybody still stopped there.
Did anybody else on the scene that guy was still here when it happened?
No, nobody. I mean, that guy that just walked in there, he was in this like car area, but not. He saw me run out here, and I think he came out. But there was people out there. Just like we all heard the guy. I don't know where he went. He was standing right here, like a lot of set white guy, tall. He was right here, and he was calling the police too, right when I was calling the police.
Would you mind hanging out for just
No,
a minute?
that's fine.
We got a detective or traffic. He's going to probably want to talk to us about this real quick. We may be able to post some pictures or run through some cars. Or
If you see like some like right there, I'll go with cars. I got up. I'm in the camera footage because I'm in the sidewalk when it drove by.
Okay.
I looked back to see it, and then but I obviously was more focused on those.
Yeah, if you don't mind just hanging out. Somebody went there. We just say take over. Yes, ma'am. What did you
I have before, so this was my car, so she clicked the button and I'm the one that's like stopped for her. And someone asked me why I said at the time that it was, because that lane, like that car's the one I heard, and I remember that when I stopped, I was the only one up here because she hit the button. I stopped and she was late to thank you, and so she didn't stop. So that car must have been speeding from like all the way down there. They came out really fast. So I'm just thinking maybe if there's like a traffic camera like a block down that way, it's like that description of that car was speeding, that could help with it.
Which officer did you talk to? You remember?
Two. I talked to
What he looks like?
yeah.
Okay.
And
Okay. And what was your name? Taylor Woods. Okay. All right. I'll let him know and he'll add it to his little statement. Yes, ma'am. Yep. You're gonna go. I'll hold the tape up for you.
And then lastly, Judge, I am seeking to admit State's Exhibit C. This is the sworn witness statement indicating that this family member of the victim observed within 24 hours of this crime the post that was referenced by the family members regarding Mr. Trueblood, indicating on April 30th, 2024, 12:28 p.m., don't text my phone, but at jumpboy.polo if you need some. So I would seek to admit that at this time.
Judge, the defense is going to object to admission of that piece of evidence, Your Honor. The obvious insinuation is that there's some sort of alleged illegal activity, whether that be possession of drugs or selling of drugs, and that's improper for the court at sentencing. Uncharged, not before this court for consideration at sentencing, uncharged crimes and illegal crimes that are not charged in the information are improper for the court to consider at sentencing.
State response.
Judge, I think you can consider it for purposes of remorse without considering the implication of other illegal conduct.
And Judge, while the picture was provided, the affidavit that's attached to it, I have not seen, other than when we walked in here this afternoon. There's an authentication issue to that too, Judge. There's no evidence that this was actually his Instagram account.
All right, well, I don't know what I'm considering, so if you would approach with the state seat for identification. All right, defense, what is the state's argument that the court should consider it solely for purposes of remorse and not any criminal action based on the defense's motion for downward departure?
Sure, Judge. We'll have evidence of remorse, but I still think there's an authentication issue, Judge. I don't see any evidence that it was actually his Instagram account.
All right, court will take the matter under advisement as State's Exhibit C for identification.
Nothing further from the state, Your Honor.
All right, with that, defense, you may proceed.
Yes, Judge. Your Honor, Jessica Urey and Randall Harper, on behalf of Willis Trueblood and his family. Judge, before we even start with evidence, Your Honor, I want to make something very clear that Mr. Trueblood himself and his mother have asked me to relay to this court and to the Sims's family. Judge, as the court is well aware, there has been a no contact order during the duration of this case. Willis, his family, everyone that is here in support of him is legally prohibited from reaching out to them, from acknowledging their loss, the gravity of their loss, or from sending any condolences. And before we start with evidence, Judge, we wanted to make very clear that Willis Trueblood Jr. and his family extends their deepest condolences and sorrow for the loss of Ellie Sims. Their heart breaks for their family, and since this case has been pending, Judge, they have done nothing but think about them and keep them in their thoughts and prayers, Your Honor, and have been thinking about their loss and the gravity that they are dealing with. And so respectfully, Judge, before we even started, we wanted to acknowledge them and also make clear, Judge, that they've been prohibited from reaching out, which is why we are where we are now. Judge, first, Your Honor, the defense will call Sergeant Cappleman with TPD. Can you see if he's outside, Randy? Yeah.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give in the case now in a hearing should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? All right, you may proceed.
Judge, permission to move the podium a little bit?
You may.
Good afternoon, Sergeant Cappleman. Can you please say and spell your name for the record?
Sergeant Cappleman, spelled C-A-P-L-A-N.
And Sergeant Cappleman, how are you currently employed?
I'm a supervisor of the traffic unit at the Tallahassee Police Department.
And how long have you been in that role?
In that role since the end of 2021.
I want to direct your attention back to an accident that your unit investigated on FSU campus. Have you had an opportunity to review the investigative report in this case?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Was that report actually conducted by Detective Harris, but you signed off in a supervisory capacity?
That's correct.
Can you please describe to Judge Marsh the area where this accident occurred?
The area of Pensacola and Lorene Street is in proximity to FSU campus. Pensacola Street is a westbound roadway. Lorene Street travels north and south.
And are you aware of the speed limits on those roads respectively?
Yes.
Can you tell the court, please?
At the time of this incident, the speed limit on Pensacola Street was 30 miles per hour. It is today 25 miles per hour. Lorene Street was 25 miles per hour at the time of this incident and is still 25 miles per hour.
And Sergeant Cappleman, are you aware of the approximate time that the accident happened?
Yes,
What was that?
approximately 6:40 p.m.
And were there people at that time who began calling 911?
That's correct.
Sergeant Cappleman, are you aware of video cameras and surveillance cameras in the area of that intersection or around campus there?
At the time of the incident, yes.
Okay, and what were those?
We searched the entire area for any video surveillance that we could find. There are several buildings that had cameras on them that did not have video recordings or didn't have hard drives or the cameras didn't work. There was a video that was obtained from Southgate down the road from where the incident occurred, and that did have video of the vehicle prior to the crash.
And the vehicle, is that the vehicle being driven by Willis Trueblood Jr.?
Yes.
And at that time, what can you tell us about the speed?
The speed of the vehicle on the video,
Yes.
or what do you mean?
On the
exactly?
Southgate campus videos.
From the Southgate campus video, observing traffic on that video and then seeing the suspect's vehicle, we could see it as we attempted to do reconstructions to try to get an exact speed of the vehicle. The speed was consistent with between 37 and 44 miles per hour.
And at that time, from that surveillance, was the rate of speed consistent with the surrounding vehicles on that road?
Yes.
And so based on what your unit used as industry standards and mathematical equations, the speed at the time of accident, what is your estimate for that speed?
At the time of the accident?
Yes.
I can tell you prior to the accident, the 37 to 44 would be the range. Based on the video evidence that we had, it was consistent with other traffic in the area as well. And at the time of the crash itself, based on the evidence of the crash scene, I can't give you an exact speed on that. There's not enough evidence to give you something exact on it.
Ultimately, in the scope of your investigation, do you learn that Willis Trueblood Jr. leaves the scene of the accident?
Yes.
And then ultimately, do you learn that he surrenders himself to the Tallahassee Police Department with about an hour after that accident?
As far as the time goes, I would have to look at the CAD, but it was within a pretty close proximity to when the accident occurred, yes.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Cross-examination.
So your best estimate is that Mr. Trueblood was traveling between 7 and 14 miles over the speed limit?
Based on the mathematical equations from the video at Southgate campus, yes, that's correct.
And what is a safe speed to travel through a pedestrian crosswalk when the lights are flashing?
Through a pedestrian crosswalk, you should be stopped before a pedestrian crosswalk if the lights are flashing.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Redirect?
No, Judge, this witness may be excused.
All right, let me step down.
Yeah, body-worn camera. Your Honor, at this point, the defense would publish 3 body-worn clips of the responding officers to the area in which Mr. Trueblood Jr. was arrested. What you'll learn in these clips, Judge, is after the accident, Mr. Trueblood goes to a friend's house. It's on Liberty and Holton, and there are 3 different Tallahassee police officers that respond to that area and where he's taken into custody. It's the same video of the arrest, but from 3 different angles, Judge, that we'll play for you. And if you can cue that up, Mr. Harper.
And how are these marked?
Sure, Judge. Their defense exhibits, this would be 5, Your Honor.
I don't have any objection to Your Honor reviewing those, Judge, but if they do show the deceased, I would ask that they only be published to Your Honor and not to the courtroom.
They do not, Your Honor, and what I also wanted to let the court know is the car is there. This is the arrest of Mr. Trueblood that I'm going to be showing. So it's a completely different location, Judge, but you can see the car.
Understood. Okay, no objection, Judge.
And this is Defense Exhibit 5 for identification?
Yes.
All right, without objection.
And Judge, just as a reminder, Your Honor, the first 30 seconds of every one of these clips, there is no audio, and then after the first 30, you're
And I know you know this, I know this, but so that the record is aware of it, the court understands how these work, is that it's recording video consistently, and it's when it's activated, the audio starts recording automatically, and it keeps those 30 seconds of video that were already being recorded.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Takes a minute. It takes a minute.
Mr. Harper, I know you came and tested it, so I... All right.
The volume was working too earlier.
I have my speakers. Yeah.
It's a 30-second delay.
Real quick, can't point back. It's okay. Okay. We're not, ma'am. Just, okay, just, okay. I understand that, but you understand. It's okay. Okay. Yeah, it's not, we're not. Yeah, it's okay. No, it's fine. You okay, buddy? Okay. You're all right. We'll get you in the car, sit you down for a second, let you breathe, all right? I got you. Okay. Y'all just called, I'm assuming? Okay. I'm gonna set you down in here, okay? You alright with that?
Did y'all read him?
Not yet. Someone's gonna come talk to you, okay? And hopefully we get those handcuffs on you. Okay. Yeah. We're just gonna set him in here. And investigators want to talk to them.
Okay, I understand that, but you understand that what just happened, right?
I do, but he's panicked and he's scared.
Okay, that's fine. All he's doing is being
Okay.
We're not.
Yeah,
it's okay. That's fine. Like,
Okay.
As long as he's compliant, that's
Yeah,
what
he is, but he's scared.
We'll get you in the car and the officer said that you breathe, all right?
So
okay, I can look at it and tell you he's scared.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not gonna.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. So we was waiting on the police officer to come, and she said,
just called us.
yeah, and then she said, well, we can flag somebody down, so that's what we're doing.
Okay.
So, did y'all ring him? His wife and let him know what?
We're not questioning him right now. That won't be us.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll be an investigator.
Okay. So where y'all?
TPD.
You saw the whole investigation.
Okay. He'll end up going to TPD.
Investigators want to talk to them.
Okay.
I'll be the station.
The station.
Or good hand.
I wanted to tell you.
So I'm trying to see something. I know, but he's panicked and he's scared, and we already contacted him. Okay. Okay. Yeah, he is, but he's scared and
$75 dispatch, just confirming Charlie Foxtrot 5 6 Kilo Papa, red Nissan Sentra.
yeah, and then she said, well, we can flag somebody down. So that's what we're doing. Did y'all read his wife let him know what's going on? So where y'all gonna take it?
We still have a whole investigation.
Okay.
We're just going to send an investigator.
And Judge, what I think is important for the court to note in those clips of the body-worn camera first is the time, Judge. So it's 1940 on the officer's cameras, so they are responding at 7:40, which is within an hour of when this accident occurred. What you can see is Willis Trueblood Jr. standing there with his mother, Lakeisha Williams, who you'll hear from shortly, as they walk out to law enforcement. You also see his uncle in the yellow tank top, who was bringing law enforcement to him as well with TPD. You'll learn when they testify shortly that they had called law enforcement and that they were told they could help flag somebody down, which is what they're doing, Judge, on that camera. You see Mr. Jr. there Mr. Trueblood Jr. willingly walking out to the police, being cooperative, surrendering himself to them, Judge, and being cooperative with the arrest. And I think that's all important for him to know. Additionally, Judge, is you hear the officers acknowledge that he looks scared, that they can see he's scared as they're standing there, and they acknowledge that to his mom when he's walking out to be arrested, Judge. And I think that's all important for the court to consider. Next, Judge, the defense will call Detective Robert Adams. If you could grab him. Okay. Thank you.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give in the case now in hearing should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? You may be seated. Defense, you may proceed.
Thank you, Judge. Detective, could you please say and spell your name for the record?
Yes, Detective Robert Adams, ROBERTADAMS.
And how are you currently employed?
With the Tallahassee Police Department in the Traffic Homicide Division.
How long have you been with that division?
Approximately 12 years.
And were you involved in the investigation and the questioning of Willis Trueblood Jr. in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
Judge, the defense would move, I have it all on the same CD, Judge, but it's defense 5 for identification. The interrogation, I intend to play it first, Judge, and then ask Detective Adams some questions afterwards.
Any objection?
No objection.
Without objection.
And Judge, for the first 20 or so minutes, Mr. Trueblood Jr. is sitting in the room by himself until the detectives come in there to question him. And so with permission, Judge, I'll fast forward to that portion.
All right.
Starts at 20:35. Did freeze. 20 minutes and 35, 20 hours, 35. Judge, I would also ask the court for the record to take point of the time. It's 20:34, which is 8:34. So this is almost within 2 hours of the accident. Judge, one last thing. There is a portion, a portion that I'd ask Mr. Harper to mute. It's just the family's address. Is the volume working? There should be audio there. Also, Judge, if some portions are difficult to hear, I did have a transcript prepared if I may approach, Judge.
That's fine.
May I approach the surgeon?
Well, let's see if we can explain these.
Judge, can I give you a copy of the transcript?
A copy for me.
It's not. They want to use that over on this particular.
Judge, I have our IT people coming down. I don't know if the court can chat its court admin team also.
Okay.
Yep.
started over here. Judge, would you like us to put the speakers up by you, Your Honor, or are they okay where they are?
Just play them the best you can. I'm going to review it back in chambers anyway.
Mr. Trueblood. It's Trueblood, correct? It's Willis. Is that right? Again, my name's Detective Adams. You can call me Rob if you want. It's easier. It's okay if I call you Willis. This is Detective Bullock. And Josh Bullock. You can call him Josh. You know why we're all here, correct? Okay. Before I ask you any questions about what happened, I gotta read you something, okay? It's your Miranda warning, okay? When after I'm done reading it to you, you can look over it, and if you would like to talk to us, we'll just have you sign it, okay? All right, so this is your Miranda warning, okay? Before you're asked any questions, you must understand the following rights. You have the right to remain silent. You do not have to talk to me if you do not wish to. You do not have to answer any of my questions. Do you understand? Yes or no? Okay. Should you talk to me, anything which you say may be introduced into evidence against you in a court of law. Do you understand? If you want a lawyer to be present during questioning at this time or any time hereafter, you are entitled to have a lawyer present. Do you understand? If you cannot afford to pay for a lawyer, one will be provided for you at no cost if you want one. Do you understand that, right? If you decide to answer any questions now without a lawyer present, you still have the right to stop answering at any time until you talk to a lawyer. Do you understand? Okay. Knowing these rights in mind, are you willing to answer my questions without having a lawyer present? Yes. Okay. All right. I'm assuming you're right handed. Okay, then we're. If you want to sign there and print your name if you could. You just put it right there. I'm sorry. It's okay. You're good. Yes, sir. And it is April 29th. $8:37. I have what I think is your biography.
I have a phone where I already have one for it.
Okay. How do you contact somebody who's like?
I FaceTime mom or something.
Okay. You don't know the number that associated to it or not?
I know it's 855-966. I don't know last year.
Okay.
Call home answer for it.
Okay. And mom's at Viking Way or? Okay. Wow. Yeah. It is the 20. It is 20. So, I understand there was an accident. Okay. I need to get your side of what happened because what we see is just what we see at the scene of the accident, and without your side of it, we don't have a whole story. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Can you kind of give me an idea of where you were, what was happening?
I know around the time, I know it was like 5 or 6 o'clock traffic. I don't know, but I just know it was a bunch of traffic, and
the sun was definitely beaming in my way. I had my thing down so I can be able to drive.
Like a visor?
Yes, sir. Okay. So I'm coming down like a little hill-ish. It's like a good little hill. So wherever Florida State is, it's two different sides. Like if I'm in the middle, like it's a street. I don't know what side of Florida State that is, but I know it's stored over here and stored over there.
Do you remember the name of the street?
No, sir.
Okay.
But it's like the Civic Stadium, whatever that is. It's right before that. Like up there somewhere all the people be over there.
Okay. Do you remember it was a 2-lane road or a 1-lane road?
It was a 2-lane road.
No, I mean like there's a traffic going both ways, or
Like
traffic going
one way.
only going one way. Okay.
So basically, I'm coming down. I see the light up there. I'm trying to look as best as I can. I see other cars going, so that's notifying me that I'm still able to go before I get to the light because I have to switch lanes to get over. And one time, I look to see what's like my mirrors to see who's deciding me for me to switch lanes. I just boom, just you feel me, just boom, the car. She just hit the car.
She hit the car?
Yeah, I didn't even see her coming. Like everything, it just happened so bad. I didn't see her coming. I didn't know what to do. So I just left.
Okay.
Went somewhere I could heard it been charged phone and call home.
Why did you leave?
Because I was panicking. I didn't know what to do.
Okay.
I was scared. I started shaking. I was feeling hot, and I didn't know what to do. I don't know. I just left. I had to leave. I was scared, bro. I was scared.
Have you ever been in trouble before?
Not like this.
Any just little things or?
Yeah, at school. I got in trouble at school with a police officer, but it was like not on like during school. You feel me? It was like an event or something like that. So.
And you are 18, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so after the accident happened, you go through, like, where did you go?
The first thing
said you called your mom, right?
Yes.
Okay.
First thing I could do was go to my friend's house and call my mom. Same thing I could do first.
And where was that at?
Where I got it from. Folks.
On Holden Street?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sorry. I got called from the house, so I wouldn't.
Well, whoever came and got me, they the Liberty Street. That's where they picked me up from. They came and got me from over there.
Okay. And what's their name?
I don't know the officer name.
No, your friend, you said.
Oh, his name Jordan.
Jordan?
Yes, sir.
Do you know Jordan's last name, or is that his last name?
No, his last name is Edwards.
Edwards?
Yes.
How do you know him?
We went to school together.
Where'd y'all go?
Last year, he's still in 12th grade.
Okay. Where'd y'all go to school?
Lincoln.
Okay. About how long after you went to Jordan's house? You said you called mom?
I went there instantly and called mom instantly.
You called mom from Jordan's house?
Yes.
Does your phone not work without like Wi-Fi or?
It depends. Like the service I have, it be iffy. I got straight talk, so it be iffy depending on where I'm at.
Okay.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it won't.
Okay, so you called your mom, and I don't.
And she came and got me. Right. She came there, sat and waited for everybody to come, basically. So we was just sitting there at my friend's house.
Okay. Is your mom? What's your mom's name?
LaQuisha.
Williams?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So she's the one that owns the car?
Yes.
Just make sure I got it right. What kind of car is it?
It's a Nissan Sentra 2008.
Okay, a Sentra?
Yes, sir.
Is it like a 4-door, 2-door?
4-door.
Okay, so you went to Jordan's house, Holden Liberty area, and you called mom, and then mom came to you?
Yes.
Okay. What was going through your mind during this time?
Only thing I can really think about is where did she come from? Literally, where did she come from? All I seen was sign and road. That's it.
Okay.
That's all I could see. I didn't know how she even got there. I don't know. It still got me shaking. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, no, it's a traumatic event.
Yeah. I don't know where.
What do you remember? I know this is probably might be a little hard, but do you remember how fast you're going?
I wasn't going over 30. I knew that.
Okay.
I wasn't going over 30. I was slowing down to switch lanes.
And you said there was traffic.
I seen two cars in the left lane where I was going to switch to get behind.
Okay, so you're in the
right lane.
The right lane, which is I guess the northernmost lane, and you're trying to turn.
Turn left, yes.
Okay, where were you headed to?
To Ben's house, to Jordan Ben's house. We call him Ben's, but his name Jordan Edwards.
Okay, and Ben's.
bands. I'm in bands.
Like BANDS? Bands?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry. Where were you coming from?
From my house, back in Lake.
Just out of curiosity, what were you going to do there at Georgia?
We were literally just going to chill, play the game, Xbox.
Play some Xbox, okay. After you got to Jordan's house, you said you called your mom. Did you look at the car?
I was, like I said, I was stuck on where did she come from. I was panicking. I didn't look at the car. Until they came and got me, that's when I actually had a chance to actually look at the car and see what happened.
Okay.
I was shaking. I couldn't do nothing. I started throwing up. It was everything, and I couldn't do it.
Was like the windshield cracked or anything, or?
Yeah, the windshield was cracked.
Okay.
The windshield was cracked, and like it had a dent in the front of the car, like front of the car.
On the driver's side or the passenger side?
The actual hood of the car.
So like right in the middle of the.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, sorry, I came here. I didn't go to the area where you were, so I didn't see anything. I really appreciate you being completely honest with me, and I think you are being very honest with me. Is there anything that you? I know you said you didn't see where she was coming from. Do you remember? You were talking about a light. Was it like a traffic light that you were at?
It was a traffic light. I was going to. I wasn't able to make it to the traffic light because I had hit it before.
Okay.
Like where I was coming from, like they have some little signs that saying people walking and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There was no sign there by like where she was at. That's what I said. I don't understand.
So like there's one that's got a little pedestrian bridge over it. It's past that one.
Flashing like the little sign they have those sidewalks in College Town.
Yeah.
Where be flashing like they have
the amber signs, the yellow signs.
Yeah.
It's past that.
I just passed that, and then once I got like a little bit further up, and there's a light up there. That's where I seen her. Like when she.
Is it the light right there by CVS?
No, there's no CVS up there. It's like I don't know the roads, but the way I was coming from, you can see it's a little bit of stores or whatever that is they got on each side of it. And you're coming up and you're going towards the like stadium.
Okay. So basically, if you would have kept going straight, you would have seen the stadium right in front of you.
Yeah, and you turn left, and that's where you back at the road again or whatever.
Okay. Just because, you said, I know you talked about your phone not really having any kind of service, or it's sporadic, so it works sometimes.
Oh, it's on. It works at just a certain time of the week, when it says on certain up there at the top of the screen.
Were you looking at your phone or anything like that at the time?
I didn't even know. That's what I'm saying. I had to go to my friend's house for me to call down and look through my phone to anything.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that happened. I was confused. All I know is my windshield messed up. I know I hit somebody, and I just messed up. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all I could do. I couldn't do nothing. All I know, my mom telling me was calm down, drink some water, calm down, drink some water. I was too shocked. I don't even know where my phone was at the moment. I think, as a matter of fact, I believe he either brought it in to me or I'm still looking for it. I don't even know.
Okay. So just to give like a rundown from what I understand that what you're saying, you're coming from your house, which is on Viking Way, right? Headed towards Jordan's house, which is off of Holden Liberty Street area, or Vans, sorry. Play some Xbox. So you're headed down what I assume to be Pensacola Street.
No, it was Tennessee Street. I know that for sure.
Tennessee?
When I was coming down, it was Tennessee Street. Because, like, you know how past the TMH and you go up to that light? I turned right and I went down. That's how I got into Florida State, actually. Florida State, Tennessee. Past, like, Leon.
Yeah.
Going all the way down that way.
Okay.
And then I made, like, I want to say a left, and that's how I got around the Florida State area.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember driving, like, do you remember the big Holiday Inn, or it's like a round Sheridan hotel, real tall hotel?
Over there by the Sonic and stuff?
Yeah, there's a gas station somewhere right there.
It was.
So did you come
before
down?
that, though. But it was over there that way, but it was before that.
But you remember being on Tennessee Street?
Yes.
Okay. Then did you turn down Macomb? Does that sound right? Macomb or Railroad? I know that the streets are confusing. I don't know who came up with the streets in here, but I find myself getting lost from time to time too. All right, so down Tennessee, and then you come down to, you said the Civic Center there, around there, and it's the one-way road.
It's
They turn in, but it's 2 lanes.
Yeah, 2 lanes. But it's a one-way road going straight down.
Okay. And then eventually it heads out towards the football stadium.
Yes.
So you're driving down the roadway, you said there's some traffic.
Yeah.
But would you describe it as like heavy traffic?
I could see the 2 cars in front of me. That's why I said traffic, because I knew there's 2 cars on the left of me and there's cars coming behind me.
Yeah, so there's the 2 cars, and they're in the left lane, you said?
Yes.
Okay. Visors down. You listen to the radio or anything?
Yeah, my radio was broken, so it was not on the radio in there.
And after the accident, first thing is just to continue to go.
I slowed down to stop, but then I kept panicking. I just had to go. I didn't know where the phone was, anything. I needed to stop, just stay still. So I went to the closest place I could think of.
Which was Jordan's?
Yes.
And then you called Mom?
Yes.
And Mom came to you?
My uncle picked her up and she came to me, yes.
Okay. Did she come?
The car that I drive, like, it's in her name, but it's for me, if that makes sense.
Okay. So she came all the way from Viking?
Yes.
Okay. Josh, do you have any other questions? You're not? Okay. Do you have any questions for me? I know you're still going through a bunch of stuff in your head. And it's a traumatic event, but you'll get through it, okay? But like I said, I appreciate you being honest with us about what happened, your side of the story. Because like I said, when we get some of these accident scenes, we don't get the full story unless we hear everybody's side. Makes sense? Okay. Well, we're going to step out for a second. You need anything else? You go to the bathroom or anything? Okay. Leave this door open. You need anything, you holler for me or Josh, okay?
Yes, sir.
Judge, there's a break here, and the detectives come back.
Still doing all right? Do you still have your phone? Where did you leave it in the car or? Miss Williams has it. Okay. Just trying to remember what you were saying. I know there's the hill there. Visors down, sun coming at you like towards the through the windshield there. After you said that she ran into the car, what happened exactly after she hit the car?
I freaked out, man. I just freaked out. I went straight to my homeboy house to call my mom.
Did you stop or anything? You
I
said you slowed down.
Yeah, I slowed down for a little bit. I was on start, but I was too freaked out to even start. I didn't want my stomach to start. Everything just started. My body started feeling weird.
Yeah.
I didn't want to start. I was too nervous, too scared, anything. I don't know. It was in my head. Right? I couldn't start. So I said, I can't. I was starting to look at it.
Okay, so you slowed down, but you slowed down because you were going to stop. But you did, and you went to Jordan's house to make your phone call. Do you remember anything about what she was wearing or anything like that?
That's what I'm saying. I didn't see her coming. That's what, I didn't know where she came from. I didn't even know what color she was. I didn't know captain. I didn't see none of that. I didn't know what it was. My windshield broke. I slowed down. I was finna stop. I kept.
Could you still see out of that? You said the windshield was broke. Could you still see out of it?
The sun was still on my face, so I was just driving like, like this, trying to.
So trying to see around the cracks. Was it like a real big crack?
Yeah.
When I signed this earlier, I wrote the wrong. I'm just bringing it to your attention. I wrote the wrong year. I wrote it up as 23, but it was actually 24. Just want to show you that I've corrected it to 24, and I signed it there. Okay. You understand? Yes, sir. Okay. Give me a couple more minutes. I'm gonna run downstairs. If you need anything, just holler at Josh right there. And if you need a bathroom or anything like that, okay?
Detective Adams, for the duration of the time that you were questioning Willis Trueblood, was he cooperative with you?
Yes, ma'am.
Was he respectful to you and Detective Bullock?
Yes, ma'am.
Did he answer your questions and everything you asked of him?
He did.
And throughout the questioning, does he tell you that everything happened so fast and he panicked?
Yes.
Ultimately, after you're done questioning him, Detective Adams, he sits in the room for a while and then he's taken to jail. If there were any issues with his transport, would you have known about those?
I would have, yes.
Okay. Was there any problems with transporting him to the jail? Did he remain cooperative?
As far as I know, yes.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Cross-examination?
On page 5 of the transcript, when Mr. Trueblood is telling you what happened, he indicates to you that she just hit the car. Is that how he phrased it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so not to get into semantics, but technically the car hit her, right?
Correct.
Okay, and in the interview, he was, I don't know how you got on the subject, but he offers to you that he had only ever been in trouble in school, not like this. Do you remember that portion of the interview?
I do.
And actually, he technically struck a deputy sheriff in the face. That was his prior trouble, wasn't it?
That's beyond the scope of direct, Your Honor.
Overruled.
Wasn't that what happened?
At the time, I did not know what his charges were.
Would it refresh your recollection to review the report related to that incident?
It would, although I wasn't involved in it.
Move on, counsel.
Judge, I just want to clarify the court's ruling. You said move on. That wouldn't
move
refresh
on.
him.
Yes, sir.
He said he didn't know it at the time.
Didn't know it at the time. Okay. All right, and during the course of this interview, how many questions did Mr. Trueblood ask about the victim, the young woman that he killed?
None.
What was known, as far as you know, what did he know about her condition at the time of this interview?
I did not know what he knew at the time, obviously. Are you specifically speaking with if she was alive?
Yes.
I did not know if he knew that.
Okay, you didn't advise him that she had passed,
No, I did not.
and he didn't ask?
No.
No further questions?
Redirect.
No, Judge, the detective can be released.
All right, hold on. Court has a question. I note it was around 20:52:30. There's some wiping of the eyes. Did you see any visual tears from the defendant?
I believe so, yes, when I came back in.
All right. Any questions in light of the court's questions?
No, Your Honor.
No, sir.
All right. You may step down.
You just take that off the table. Yeah. Well, the PowerPoint, actually, so wait. Your Honor, the defense will now move into evidence what we have listed. Thank you, Detective Adams. Defense Exhibit 1, Judge, this is the diagnostic evaluation that was already provided to the court by Dr. Rhonda Harrison Sproul. I'd move that into evidence as Defense 1.
Any objection? All right, without objection.
No objection, Your Honor.
Next, Judge, I would move into evidence the restorative justice letter that was drafted by Connection First, and Your Honor already received a copy of that, but I would like to read that into the record, Judge. To whom it may concern, and this is Defense Exhibit 2. I'm writing on behalf of Connection First. We are the
Hold on.
nonprofit.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
All right, without objection, go ahead, Ms. Fury.
Yes, sir, Judge. We are the nonprofit organization that operates the restorative justice program in Circuit 2. On June 11th, 2025, our team completed a comprehensive intake with Willis Trueblood. The purpose of our intake process is to assess whether the responsible person and case overall are appropriate for restorative justice, while ensuring there is accountability for the harm caused, a clear understanding of the restorative justice process and its goals, and recognition of the voluntary nature of participation for all involved parties. Our intake process is thorough and evaluative. During intake, our team reviews and discusses the individual's understanding of the harm that was caused and their willingness to take responsibility, their comprehension of restorative justice and its focus on repairing harm, the expectations, commitments, and structure of our program, and the importance of voluntary participation. Connection First does not automatically accept all referrals. If our team determines that a responsible party is not demonstrating accountability, does not understand the purpose of restorative justice, or that the case is not appropriate for a restorative process, we decline to move forward. This ensures the integrity of our program and the safety and well-being of all participants. Based on the intake conducted on June 11th, 2025, our team determined that Mr. Trueblood demonstrated an understanding of the restorative justice process, acknowledged the impact of the harm caused, and engaged in the intake in a manner consistent with the accountability and willingness required for participation in our program. While Connection First was prepared to proceed with restorative justice services in this case, the prosecutor ultimately did not agree to move forward with a restorative justice process. As a result, this case did not advance beyond intake. Although restorative justice was not pursued, the intake process reflects Mr. Trueblood's engagement in reflection, accountability, and a willingness to participate in a process focused on repairing harm. Please feel free to contact me should you need additional information regarding our intake process or Connection First, and that's signed by Janelle Edens, and that's moved into evidence as Defense Exhibit 2. Next, Your Honor, Defense Exhibit 3, which was provided to the state, is the progress report of the Department of Juvenile Justice, Your Honor. While Mr. Trueblood was on probation for a juvenile delinquency case, he did complete all of the conditions of his probation. I'd move that into evidence.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
Without objection.
And lastly, Judge, the citation that's associated with this case, Judge, it's AJA0FYE as Defense Exhibit 4.
All right, any objection?
Approach with those exhibits, Your Honor.
You may. Before you proceed, the court has considered the objection, the response by the state as to State's Exhibit C for identification. The objection sustained. All right, you may proceed, Ms. Urie.
Yes, Judge. Next, Your Honor, we would call members of Willis Trueblood's family for character witnesses.
please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give in the case now in hearing should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
All right, you can put your hand down. Mr. Uri, you may proceed, ma'am.
You can just tell the judge what you wanted to about Mr. Trueblood.
First, I just want to say condolence to the family of the victim. It's not even feasible to think how they go through day after day or what they have to deal with the loss of a loved one. I just want...
Hold on one second.
I was going to wait to the end. They're going to want your name.
John Hogan, Sr.
All right, thank you, sir.
Sometimes, growing up, you don't have a clear idea of what your future has for you. You don't know the trials, the tribulations, the stuff you're going to deal with. But when you face them, you learn from them. You grow from them. I don't have any clue how he's going to be able to move forward from this. This is going to be a tragedy that he has to live with. If you hurt someone, you can go back and apologize later. If you take from someone, you can hopefully give it back and hopefully forgiveness. There's no way you can make up for taking a life. There's nothing you can do to that person's loved ones to give them that hope of seeing that person again. I wish I would have done better to instruct what it means to operate a vehicle, to know the responsibilities that comes with it, so that certain things just don't have to be a part of your life. Just hearing him say the sun was in his eyes, I know I never talked to him about that, and that gonna eat me up. I never taught him about that is when you slow down. You can't see. Don't push the gas. Slow down. Please allow for his lack of knowledge to weigh into the whole situation. One time we went out to eat for one of his sister's birthdays at a hibachi restaurant. And you go to hibachi, it's a good time. You're going to have a great time. The guy's going to entertain you and do the jokes and stuff. I looked over at Willis when the guy was doing the jokes on his sister and his mother, and I saw he was getting agitated and aggravated about it. And I talked to him later about it, and he was like, yeah, he was trying to be funny. I was like, no, Willis, that's his job. He's there to entertain the whole audience. He's the whole show. And it didn't even hit me that he didn't have that understanding of that. We do landscaping. I'm a landscaper. So every day I get up and service others. Willis also comes for me to help me out. One day after I was doing something, I was like, hey, I need you to move the truck for me so we can get this thing done. He was like, Uncle John, I can't move the truck. I was like, why? He said, that's a part of the thing I'm dealing with. I can't operate vehicles. I was like, yeah, just move the truck. He was like, no, I can't. I gotta set a good example for my younger brother, William. And it hit me so hard to be like, I don't know if I ever even thought about he looked at it like that. He has to be an example. He was told not to do something, and then he cannot do it. And from that, he said, that is an example I want to set for my younger brother. I just wish I would have told him, don't leave. Don't leave. Please don't leave. You talk to the children about, hey, you shouldn't speed, you shouldn't do this, but you don't tell them about the afterwards when the stuff happens, how to react after. He has to be held accountable for the actions he committed. I just ask for leniency for the not knowing and the not understanding of how the whole thing should come together.
If you would please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give in the case now and hearing should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Bishop, you may proceed.
I'm Pastor Stan Nanton of Spirit and Truth Outreach Ministries. I'm Willis pastor now for about maybe 10, 15 years. I don't know. I knew him when he was a little kid, maybe 10, 11 maybe years old, and I watched him grow up. And you know, I've heard some things, you know, and today that would have never even crossed my mind. It's, you know, things like drug use or drug dealers and stuff like, no, that was never him. He's always been in a sheltered environment. When I say sheltered environment, his mother kept him and his siblings, I mean, in her watch at all times. Even when we had church events, if she couldn't be there, they couldn't be there. And that's the way they grew up. They grew up always at home, doing what they're supposed to do. I mean, I always used to compliment on how well-mannered her kids were. Always. I mean, never any problems with them. I never had to counsel him about anything. As a matter of fact, he even helped me build a home for mentally and physically disabled. And he never complained, and whatever I asked him to do, he would do it. And you know, I always though knew that there was a slight edge of just, I say, and I don't mean it in a bad way, just the common sense to do things. You know, I mean, he would understand in his capacity, but not in the whole sense of how it should be, you know, and he always meant well. He grew up to work hard, and he got him a little job, and next thing I know, hey, just like any other kid, he was driving. And he wasn't like he had a lot of experience driving before this thing happened. And like I said, I hate the fact that what happened, and my heart just pours out to the family of the lost child. That's the worst thing you could think of as a parent, is that your child leave before you. And my heart goes out. But this whole thing was a travesty. What happened to him is just, I don't know, a lot of not knowing what to do. and that shaped what he did. But as far as just plain malice, just with no care, that wasn't him. That wasn't him at all. And that wasn't the way that his family brought him up, and that wasn't the kid that I counseled in ministry, and that, you know, that helped me in the church and did things that, you know, that other kids, I couldn't get other kids to do. And he was always like shelled. When I say shelled, he always like was to himself. He was never outspoken or hung with a crowd of the kids or nothing. He stayed to himself all the time. Kind of shelled. It was just him and his brother. And one thing I can say, if I had to paint a picture of him, and I done dealt with a lot of rough kids, but he was nothing like that. He's just as kind and considerate as he can be. But like I said, I don't know why in the world, you know, what goes in kids' minds when they get in trouble. And his thing was he had to find his mom. Like I said, that's all he had, really, his mom. And she sheltered them, and she kept them under her wing like a hen would do her chicks. And whenever they got in trouble, they ran to their mom. And that was, I guess that's what was on his mind. Like I said, I hate what happened, and you can't fix that. You can't, it's nothing, no bandage or nothing could heal that pain. But maybe, I don't know, maybe we can resolve something out of this and not take 2 lives out. So, I thank you for your time.
Ma'am, if you raise your right hand, do you swear or affirm the testimony you give in the case now and hearing should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
All right, let us know your name, and then you may proceed. You can put your hand
My
up.
name is Jeff Anna Holmes. First, I would like to apologize to the family. This has been heavy on our family as well, because we understand the loss that they took, and we're so sorry. And we've been praying for their family. We've been wanting to reach out to them, but we understand the no contact order that was granted, so we had to obey that also. But we are truly sorry, and they are in our prayers, holidays, all the time. We pray for them because we understand the loss that they took. Because had it been the other way, we would feel the same that they're feeling. But what I want you to understand is Willis is not a bad kid. Every kid, we were going through the process of learning. And as the pastor said, Willis was sheltered. Their mother kept them together in the house. He didn't roam the streets and hang out with groups like some kids do. And this is heavy on my heart, because when the idea came up about the purchasing of the car for Willis, me and his grandmother, and I debated with her about that because of the fact that he hadn't been had enough experience on the road I didn't think he had enough experience to be driving. And me and her debated, and we went back and forth. And when I looked up, the car was purchased. And he didn't have enough experience driving. He hadn't been, like I stated, he was a sheltered kid. And he's very sorry about what he did. And we understand that he has to endure some consequences for his actions, which was leaving. But he panicked. And it wasn't like he panicked to run and hide and get away. His mother went and called and asked called the cops to come and get him. He wasn't hiding. He was scared. But again, I just want the family to know that we are very, very sorry, and we understand that loss that was taken from them, and we're praying for them. And I can understand if they have some harsh, because if it was vice versa, we would maybe have those too. But we're sorry and we're praying for them. And he's not a bad kid, and he hadn't had that much experience. And I know that doesn't cover, the accident, but it was an accident. And I just want to say again, we are so sorry.
Maybe if you'd raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you give in the case now and hearing should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
All right, you can put your hand down, and if you'll let us know your name, and then you may proceed.
Yes, sir. My name is Christy Hogan. Sorry. To your honor in the courts, good afternoon. My name is Christy Hogan, and I'm a social worker for a local nonprofit in town. Willis Trueblood Jr. is my oldest nephew. I am here today to speak on his character, as I can contest the following is all true. To the family of Ms. Sims, we extend our sincere apologies to your family. There is not a day or a special occasion that we do not include your family in our prayers. Your lives changed forever that day, and we will all be forever connected. We pray for forgiveness and ask for grace as we continue to help support and navigate Willis during this time. In the past, our village and I have always taught our kids, when something happens, always come tell your parents first. No matter what may be said outside of this court, Your Honor, I want to assure you that our family's shared principles are based on faith, love, kindness, and gratitude. These are the values that have been instilled in Willis since birth. Our family is not grand, it's very small. We cherish each moment that we have together. To those that know Willis know that his life is consumed with church and work and school. Willis has always been a quiet and reserved child. Of his entire adolescence, I've noticed he is not a child that speaks many words or wants to have long, in-depth conversations. However, when he does talk, his words are meaningful and impactful. When I was going through postpartum after delivering my twins, Willis came to me and said, "Auntie Christy, I know you're tired. Let me watch the twins while you sleep for a couple of hours." That is the kind-hearted person he has always been. Always there to help my kids and his siblings to learn how to ride a bike or help with science fair projects. Willis and my twins, they're 4 years old, they share a unique bond. My son is quiet and reserved, and often I think Willis is the only person who truly understands him. They say a lot to each other, often without uttering a word. My oldest daughter adores Willis and looks forward to the advice that her cousin gives her on the weekend. We love and care deeply for Willis. To the Sims family, again, we are truly saddened by what occurred, and we will forever keep your family in our thoughts and prayers.
LaQuisha Williams, and I'm Willis's mom. Is it okay if I address the family?
I can't.
Sure. Yeah, talk to me. Hold on, first location. Judge, she's asking if it's okay if she addresses this family.
And that's fine if you do it from the podium.
Yeah.
Go ahead, ma'am. And if you can let us know your name, the court reporter's going to want to make sure we have your name, and then you may proceed.
My name is LaQuisha Williams.
All right. Go ahead, ma'am.
I just want to say that I'm truly sorry. Family, mother, not mother. I asked to give what my son caused. And it was not intentional. There's nothing that I can say that can change it. And nobody knows what you go through. Nobody knows what you deal with in quiet hours, what you cannot explain to nobody else. But I pray that God give you strength, that God give you peace, that God carry you through it. Because it may not get easy, but He can help you. Thanks. I apologize again. I'm sorry. When I got the call of what happened, Willis was only doing what I taught him, and that's to call me. I just told him to stay calm because I didn't want to panic. It would only make him panic even worse. My uncle picked me up and took me over there to him. I didn't really know what was going on. And then by the time we got there, in the midst of getting there, my uncle called the police as well, and she told us what to do. And when we, in the midst of getting over there, we found out more. We were thinking we were just going to be able to get there, and it was just an accident. Willis was not aware that she had passed. He wasn't even aware that he actually had someone. He just thought it was an accident, hit something. He wasn't aware it was someone. He overheard by mistake that she had passed, and he lost it. He overheard my uncle speaking to the police on the phone, which is the one that we called, and that's when Willis just lost it. And he fell to the ground screaming, and he started vomiting. The police officers, who we called, told us to flag them down. We met the officers who arrested him. And I was trying to explain we were trying to do the right thing. And one of them was Russian, and I was trying to tell them we were trying to do the right thing. This has changed everybody's lives, their lives and ours. We have been receiving threats. My kids have changed schools. People have judged us. They assume they know Willis, and they don't. We have to worry about if something's going to happen. When he did have to come meet, he had to wear a mask. It has caused a lot of worry and anxiety. I don't know exactly where it happened, but I don't even go on that side of town. I know he's going to have some type of consequence for what happened, but he needs counseling. He needs help because nobody knows what he's going through on the inside. I just pray for mercy and compassion for my son. And I'm asking for the family to forgive him. Because outside of everyone else, the only ones really going through it is their family and ours. The other people did witness it, And I'm sorry, but they have to live with that. We do. And I'm asking for you to just have mercy on my son and compassion. And I'm asking for their family to forgive him.
Judge, I just have one other letter to read into the record. Your Honor, Mr. Trueblood has been working at McDonald's. This is from his assistant manager. Her name is Cambria Ford. Willis is a really great worker. Out of all of my coworkers, he is the only person I can truly count on when I am in need of help and coming to work on time. No matter if he has to work, no matter if he has to walk to work, he is going to come into work. He works an average of 40 hours a week. He comes into work sometimes at 4 a.m. to 3 p.m. when I need help, and all the other coworkers have called out on me. He known how to control himself in a situation. Music is his key of self-control, and I learned that from working with him over the past year. The other letter I have, Judge, the last one, Your Honor, is from Mary Bryant. This is the grandma of Willis Trueblood, Jr. My name is Mary Bryant, and I'm the grandmother of Willis Trueblood, Jr. I respectfully submit this letter to the court with humility and deep sorrow regarding the tragic loss of Elizabeth Ellie Sims. First and foremost, I wish to express my heartfelt condolences to Ellie's family and loved ones. There are no words that can ease the pain of losing a child, and I understand that their loss is profound and permanent. I am deeply sorry for their grief, and I keep them in my prayers. I have known Willis his entire life. He was raised in a loving and structured family environment with a strong church background, where he was taught respect, accountability, compassion, and the value of human life. Throughout his upbringing, Willis has always been a well-mannered, respectful, and courteous young man, known by family, church members, and those around him for his character and good conduct. Prior to this tragic incident, Willis had no serious criminal history and had never been in trouble with the law. At the time of the accident, he was 18 years old, still very young. While nothing can excuse what happened, I believe his actions were the result of panic and fear, not cruelty or disregard for life. A young person faced with such a terrifying moment may make a decision that he will regret for the rest of his life. Willis has expressed sincere remorse and sorrow for the loss of Ellie's life. He understands the gravity of this tragedy and the pain it has caused. This event has deeply affected him and our entire family. By entering a no-contest plea, he has accepted responsibility and is prepared to face the consequences of his actions. I respectfully ask the court to consider Willis's youth at the time of the offense, his lack of any serious prior criminal record, his faith-based upbringing, and the strong family support that surrounds him. I believe that while accountability is necessary, mercy, counseling, and opportunity would allow him to mature, learn from this tragedy, and one day become a positive and productive member of society. Thank you, Judge Marsh, for your time and consideration. Respectfully submitted, Mary Bryant, grandmother of Willis Trueblood, Jr. And we also have a presentation, Judge, of pictures of Willis and his family, if I can. Judge, just to make sure I understand, the court will permit Willis to address the court at the end.
Say again?
The court will allow Willis to address, Your Honor, after the state makes their argument on sentencing. Is that what the court said?
No, he would do that during the evidence and that portion. Then the argument is just, I'll allow you to have the last argument.
Then Mr. Trueblood is also ready to address the court, Your Honor.
All right. And let's just make sure he has a microphone.
Yes, sir.
With that, sir, the floor is yours.
I want to apologize first for what happened. I'm sorry. Everything happened. It's a lot to take in. From the beginning, it happened. So now I'm still not mentally ready for any of it. I'm just here at this point. Nobody gonna understand what I've been through, just like I'm not gonna be able to understand what nobody else been through. But I just wanted the opportunity to say I was sorry. I haven't had it before.
Are the parties ready to present argument?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, State, you may argue.
Judge, obviously nobody can articulate the gravity of this crime better than the immediate family of the victim. Her loss is felt profoundly in that family and well beyond. There's a few facts that I do want to point out. We acknowledge that this defendant did not intend any harm. That's not what this case is about, and nobody's claiming otherwise. But there are some aggravating factors that we think should justify the sentence that we're asking for, which is really just the minimum, the bottom of the guidelines. This defendant was on juvenile probation when this happened. Yes, he is a very young man. He has his whole life ahead of him, regardless of what Your Honor senses. He will not be defined by this. He can choose to do things with his life, and Ellie can't. And that's really where we land when we look at everything. He chose to speed. The testimony today was that he was in excess of the speed limit with blinding sunlight in his eyes. He did know that he had hit someone. It was really obvious and acknowledged by him at the time, yet he chose not to stop. Why did he do that? Because he was scared and he wanted his mom? Yeah, we have no reason to dispute that, but it's still the wrong thing to do. And it's criminal. And there's accountability for one's actions. He did not express, yes, he showed remorse here today, but he did not express any remorse or concern for her at all at that crash scene. He did not express any remorse or concern for her at all at his arrest scene. He did not express any concern or remorse during his interview, and all of that was before any court order restricting his conduct in any way. He was scared for himself, understandably, but he was worried about himself. And, you know, we're not asking for the maximum sentence. The maximum sentence, as Your Honor is well aware, is 30 years. But we're asking for not even what the score sheet recommends the 200.60 months. We're asking for the lowest permissible prison sentence in months, 129.45 months, and think that's appropriate for this defendant to have consequences, to learn from what he has done, and to then move forward with his life, something that obviously Ellie Sims and her family cannot and will not ever be able to do. Thank you, Your Honor.
Defense, you may argue. Last word.
Thank you, Judge. As the court's aware, in the mitigation memorandum in motion that we filed, the defense is moving for a downward departure on 3 grounds, Judge. And I'd like to highlight what the evidence and testimony has shown from those 3 reasons. So first, Judge, is the isolated, unsophisticated for which he shows remorse. And we laid out the case law, Judge, that one prior juvenile delinquency petition is not enough to exclude him from an isolated incident. And additionally, Judge, the court now has the DJJ disposition that shows he successfully completed everything he was asked to on that probation. He completed community service hours, an anger management class, and a mentoring program. Most importantly, Judge, since he's been released while this case has been pending, he has followed every order of the court. There have been no allegations of any bond violations. And so he has continued to demonstrate that this one situation, Judge, was isolated. With regard to unsophisticated, Judge, I think the state concedes and we agree, and I hope that everyone can understand that there was no planning or premeditation or an intent by any way to harm Ms. Sims. That was not contemplated by him. That was never what he set out to do that day. Furthermore, Judge, in what the court is having to fashion a sentence for when we talk about leaving the scene, there was no cover-up, there was no destruction of evidence in this case, there was no plan to lie to law enforcement, and in fact, you've heard the opposite, that the family themselves, Mr. Trueblood's family, was reaching out to law enforcement. You see Mr. Hogan, who testified, walk out to meet the officers. He comes out there, willingly surrenders himself to law enforcement and goes into custody within 1 hour, Judge, of this tragedy. Judge, with regard to remorse, Your Honor, I think the court can sense the palpable remorse in what Mr. Trueblood just said to the court, but additionally, Your Honor, in his acceptance into the restorative justice program a year ago, in every way, he has demonstrated his willingness to take accountability for this. And what you heard from his mother, Judge, is that he did learn that she had passed away, and he did respond in that time with sincere regret and sincere remorse and sincere and genuine emotion about the gravity of what had happened. But Judge, we also have to acknowledge that within that hour, he was in handcuffs and was being interrogated. And so we can all kind of sit here in hindsight and look or ponder what his reaction should have been. But at that same time, Judge, he's an 18-year-old boy who has known that he has killed someone and is now being questioned about the criminal imposition that comes from that. And in that moment, Judge, he is remorseful. You can see the emotion on him. The court even asked that question of Detective Adams. Judge, everyone in this room, from Mr. Trueblood's family that is here, acknowledges the loss here and the gravity of that. And they are incredibly remorseful. But most importantly, Mr. Trueblood is remorseful, and we've just demonstrated that. Judge, that's the first ground that the defense believes you have enough evidence to downward depart. The second, Your Honor, is that Mr. Trueblood requires specialized treatment for a mental disorder that is unrelated to substance abuse or addiction, and he's amenable to treatment, Your Honor. Judge, we provided the evaluation by Dr. Rhonda Sproul. I would highlight a couple points, Your Honor. Specifically in the behavioral observations in his mental status examination, Mr. Trueblood described his mood as stressful and noted that he has been trying to live peacefully. He did not independently report feeling depressed, but acknowledged a significant number of symptoms associated with depression, including persistent sad mood, social withdrawal and isolation, loss of interest and enjoyment in activities, suicidal thinking on the day of the accident. He reports frequent nightmares, as well as an inability to both fall and stay asleep. He reported that he wakes up repeatedly, often only after 30 minutes. He tries to avoid thinking about this by keeping busy. He would work 12 hours a day if they'd let me. He tries to keep busy. If not, he'll be sitting with his thoughts all day. Mr. Trueblood weighed approximately 180 pounds when it happened, but he found he could not eat and lost approximately 30 to 40 pounds. In recent weeks, he has tried to gain back a bit of weight and estimated his current weight at 160. He avoids going out in public and fears being recognized for what happened and not who he is. Judge, he far exceeded every number of criteria for a PTSD diagnosis. And I think that's important, not in any means, Judge, to undermine what the family is going through, but to also acknowledge, Your Honor, that Mr. Trueblood himself also has to live with this for the rest of his life, and that he has that diagnosis also, Judge. We do think, Your Honor, that we have established that basis for a downward departure. And I would also remind the court, Judge, of what is pointed out in the report as far as untreated PTSD. Untreated PTSD is associated with increased risk of suicide, particularly among minorities. PTSD is also associated with the development of other mental disorders, substance use disorders, and high-risk behaviors. The reality is that he does need counseling for this, Judge, and he's amenable to do that treatment. The other thing I would remind Your Honor, who's familiar with the Department of Corrections, Judge, that's not going to be offered there. That's not something that we have to prove, Your Honor, but it's simply not something that is going to happen. The last ground, Judge, is youthful offender. I think we've established that, Judge. There's no discrepancy to his age at the time. And I also, in the motion, Your Honor, highlighted the legislative intent behind youthful offender. And while it acknowledges that age and maturity and decision-making of young people is important when we're fashioning sentences for criminal activity, and also, Judge, to acknowledge the legislature's intent when they talked about youthful offender and how the goal should be to separate young people and prevent their association with older and more experienced criminals. Judge, we have to acknowledge the reality about the Department of Corrections, particularly for a young man that has never been in trouble, to include incarceration or lengthy prison sentences. He has 1 day of credit, Judge. Whatever the court sentences him to, he will serve the majority, with the exception of his 85% gain time if he's eligible for that, Judge. The reality of prisons are that he is going to be exposed or victimized to significant violence, to physical brutality, to terror and trauma. And Judge, I think we have to acknowledge that in fashioning a sentence, which is why youthful offender offers the court a way to structure a sentence that would minimize that, but also continue to ensure that he takes accountability for his actions. Judge, I laid out in the case law and in the research the maturity and development of young people. 18 is not a magic number, Judge. It doesn't just mean that you continue to make an adult decision at that point. You continue to mature and develop. But particularly, Judge, in decision-making in high-stress situations like this awful tragedy was, we have to acknowledge his age. Respectfully, Judge, we do ask the court to take into account what has been provided today and to grant a downward departure and to give Mr. Trueblood mercy and a second chance here. Judge, not all of his family members testified, but he does have a supportive circle. He does have friends and family that love him and care about him, and he has continued to try and support them throughout the time this case has been pending. His mom expressed to you, Your Honor, the reality of how this has affected their family. They've had to change schools. They've received threats about this. And Judge, they're just asking the court for a second chance for Willis Trueblood and to give him some mercy in this situation, Judge. I also highlighted in the motion other cases, and I think when we look at this situation as a whole, Your Honor, there's no indication that he was under the influence. There's no indication through the citation that he was cited for careless driving or aggressive driving or anything to indicate that he was willfully and wantonly disregarding the safety of the road, Judge. And the second he got to his mother, he did everything that he could to try and do the right thing, to cooperate with law enforcement, and to fully confess to his role. This is a different situation, Judge. And respectfully, Judge, we'd ask the court to find that we've met the burden for a downward departure and to show Mr. Trueblood grace and mercy in this situation and grant that downward departure, Judge.
Now, counsel, you cited in a number of cases, you've cited downward departure. Downward departure, according to case law, is slightly different than the minimum mandatory, in this case, of 4 years. Are you asking for a departure from the mandatory minimum term pursuant to Florida Statute 316.027G? And if so, what evidence supports that it would result in injustice?
Judge, the evidence that the defense's position is that youthful offender does allow the court to...
I understand youthful offender,
Okay.
but separately, or are you asking for departure outside of youthful offender as to the mandatory minimum? Because if the court grants that outside of youthful offender, the court is required to state the basis, and the court may only grant it if it finds that a factor, consideration, or circumstance clearly demonstrates that imposing a mandatory minimum term would constitute or result in an injustice. I'm not saying it is or it isn't, but I need that to be addressed.
Yes, Judge. The defense's position wholeheartedly is that 4 years of imprisonment for this case would be an injustice, Your Honor. This is nothing that he has ever done before. This is nothing that he intended to do. And Judge, the punishment here, while we all acknowledge and recognize the gravity of loss, the punishment is for leaving. So when we look at in a scope of what the court has heard as far as leaving, Judge, we are talking within an hour, his family is reaching out to law enforcement, he is surrendering himself to them, and he is acknowledging within 2 hours everything that he did in this case. So yes, Judge, respectfully, we do believe that would be an injustice.
All right. With that, the court will be in recess for approximately 20 minutes as the court deliberates sentence.
All rise. Court is back in session.
Everyone may be seated. All right, we're back in Leon County Case 2024 CF 1235, State versus Trueblood. At a previous session of this court, the defendant entered a plea of no contest to the sole count of the amended information, one count of leaving the scene with crash involving death. The court accepted that plea and set the matter for sentencing, which we have held here today. In this case, the court has heard about Ellie Sims, a loud voice that was silenced. The court heard about Willis Trueblood, a quiet voice screaming out for mercy. No sentence will fill the hole left in this family, her Alpha Chi Omega sisters, Florida State University, or the Tallahassee community. But no sentence is needed to correct some awful or evil intent, because that's not what we have here. The court's got to decide an appropriate punishment, one that deals with general deterrence, one that fits this offender. The court heard about Ellie, full of life and doing it the right way, coming home from the library in a crosswalk, having pushed the button and the lights were flashing, something all of our Florida State University students should feel safe being able to cross the street. We heard about the hurt of her younger brother answering the door to law enforcement officers and the anguish of a mother not being able to accept the loss of her child. We heard from her father and the loss he feels, and the sister that dreads her own wedding because her sister won't be there. But we also heard from the Trueblood family. Their sincere remorse, the fact that they flagged down law enforcement and had the defendant turn himself in. So in fashioning the sentence, the court's required to look at the statutory downward departures requested by the defense. The first, the youthful offender, the defendant does qualify, being 18 at the time of the crime and now prior to sentencing. The court finds a downward departure under that basis not to be appropriate and exercises its discretion not to sentence as a useful offender. Next, as to the specialized treatment for a mental disorder, the defendant does qualify based on Defense Exhibit 1, but this is not one of those cases where, based on that this court should downward depart. And finally, that this crime was committed in an unsophisticated way, in an isolated fashion, and that the defendant has shown remorse. This is definitely an unsophisticated crime. There's no indication of any cover-up, any hiding evidence. It was a young man who drove away and asked for his mother. The court legally finds this to be isolated. The court will note the defendant was on probation with DJJ, but under the law of Florida and the case law that controls, that is not a definition of it just per se being not isolated. The case law supports that this one crime, followed by the one we're here for today, does qualify the defendant for this to be an isolated crime. And finally, remorse. This one was closer, folks. The first two were easy. This one was hard. But what we've heard from, I intently watched the defendant during the entirety of this proceeding to see what his reactions are, not just to what he's facing, but to whom he's facing. But the court had to ask that question, and you heard me ask it of the officer because you see the defendant wiping his eyes or doing something during that interrogation. And he said he did see tears. So for that, I do find the defendant to be remorseful, and he does qualify for a downward departure. The state in this case has asked for the lowest permissible sentence, which is not, and the state pointed out, not the recommended sentence. The origin of the law in this regard with the legislature is the legislature first had recommended sentences, and it was a upward departure or a downward departure. They got rid of the requirement of upward departure but kept the lower limit, which is what results as our lowest permissible sentence. The state has asked for that lowest permissible sentence that we've previously discussed as 129.450 months. The defense has asked for less than 4 years, 4 years being the mandatory minimum required under the statute. And in fashioning the appropriate sentence, this court has to balance the needs of society, traffic safety at FSU and other general deterrence with the needs of this defendant. And so ultimately the court sentences the defendant as follows. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm required to read all the court costs and fees and their statutory bases, so I'm going to do that first. First, Mr. Trueblood, this court adjudicates you guilty of count 1 and sentences you as followed: to $2,100 fine pursuant to Florida Statute 775.083, $105 surcharge pursuant to 938.04, $20 court costs pursuant to 938.06 Crime Stopper Trust Fund, $3 court costs pursuant to 938.011 Criminal Justice Trust Fund, $50 pursuant to 938.03 Crimes Compensation Trust Fund, $225 pursuant to 938.05 Local Government Criminal Justice Trust Fund, $2 court costs pursuant to 938.15 City Criminal Justice Education, City Code Section 1-8. $50 court costs pursuant to 775.0832 County Crime Prevention. $65 court costs pursuant to 939.185 County Additional Court Cost, County Code 7-24. $3 court costs pursuant to 938.19 Teen Court Assessment, Leon County Code 7-28. $50 public defender application fee pursuant to 27.521B. $100 cost of prosecution pursuant to 938.278, and $100 legal assistance lien pursuant to 938.291. Although this sentence will not satisfy anyone, the sentence of this court is as follows. The defendant shall be sentenced to 8 years in the Florida Department of Corrections with a 4-year mandatory minimum. He will have a 3-year driver's license revocation, and he shall pay restitution to the victims, the amount to be reserved in 90 days. So you have the right to, the defendant will receive 1 day for credit that he has served. You have the right to appeal the jurisdiction of this court and the legality of its sentence within 30 days from today's date. If you cannot afford an attorney for that appeal, I can appoint one to represent you. With that, the defendant will be remanded into the custody of the of the Leon County Sheriff for transmission to the Florida Department of Corrections. With that, the court is in recess.
All right, that is the end of this video. Here is a photo of the Department of Corrections information on Mr. Trueblood. He is serving his sentence, at least currently, at a minimum security facility. This case touched the FSU community. My condolences to Ellie's family and friends. As an FSU student myself, the impact of Ellie's loss touched me and our community deeply. It serves as a reminder of the importance of road consciousness and what can happen when you drive recklessly. We look forward to seeing you in our next video here on Deep Dive True Crime. Until next time.